For the past month or so, I've been developing an add-on behind the scenes, and today I finally get to show it to you. But before I do, I would just like to say that this add-on is in very early stages. It does work well, however, it is not the most efficient code-wise that it could be. However, I do plan on rewriting the code. That way, hopefully in version 2, it will be a lot more efficient. This does have some limitations, like only one person is able to use it at a time. However, you are able to use this on any of your worlds, servers, or realms, and as long as the pack is installed on the world itself, then any player that is inside of that world will be able to use it, regardless of what device they're using. And you might have already guessed what add-on this is going to be from the title of this video. The add-on that I am talking about is, of course, Freecam. So as you can see, I could type !Freecam in chat, and it's going to put me into the Freecam mode. And then I can set the speed of which I want to use the Freecam. So I'll go with !S1 for speed 1. This is going to be a speed that ranges from speed 1 all the way up to the max speed of speed 6. So if we type in !S1 here, that's going to put us in speed 1. And then I can exit out of this and hold down my space button, which is going to be the jump button. And I can turn around and I can see the player here. I can also hold down the sneak button, which on PC is going to be shift, and that's going to allow me to move backwards. Now I've pretty much programmed this to where it's going to look exactly where the player is looking, which is really the only way to do it on Bedrock that I know of currently. And because I don't think that I can individually set keybinds whenever I am programming this in, I'm going to have to look at the player crouching and the player jumping in order to move. So essentially what I did is added a new entity to the world. Now this entity you of course cannot see, however I am currently teleporting alongside this entity. And I have a script in the background that is running inside of a very fast loop that is going to teleport me facing the same direction of the player. So unfortunately, due to this, you are going to have the player crouching whenever you're going backwards or the player jumping whenever you're going forwards. There's really not much that I can do about this until Mojang adds in different ways for me to actually control the entity. The only other thing that I might be able to do would be tie it to an item inside of the hotbar and then just hold down right click. However, I don't think that will give us a smooth movement due to it being an intermittent click event instead of a holding down event. So like I said before, we have speed 1 and then we have all the way up to speed 6, which is going to be pretty quick. And as you can see, we can move through this world at a very fast rate. And I wanted to make this to where it was fast enough to get around, but I don't want it fast enough to where you're going to literally slingshot yourself out of render distance, because as you can see, this is legitimate Freecam mode. This is not spectator mode, so if we go over here away from the player, because I'm the only one on the project Bedrock at this time, there's literally nothing else over here loaded because the player is not around it. And then if we keep on going, we can actually go to the edge of the render distance. And because the player is all the way over there on top of the crane, this is never going to be loaded because the player is not close enough. Now, if at any time I ever wanted to go back to the player, I can just type in !Freecam again, and that's going to take me all the way back to the player over here. And then to exit Freecam mode, I can just type !FCX, which is going to X out of Freecam, as you can see here. Come on, any minute I'll be able to sleep. I just know it. I think one of the best ways to show that this area is actually loaded is going to be making this clock here, which I will use this pretty frequently in order to see how far away the loaded chunk is. So if we take redstone here and place on this block, you're going to see that's going to make a clock that's going to go up and down very quickly. Now, if I go too far away from this, which means if I go out of my simulation distance, then that clock is actually going to stop moving. And that is going to happen right before it renders out of view. So if we go forwards a little bit, we should be able to see it moving. Yeah, there we go. And no, we have some type of visual bug. However, if we go over here and fly, where we are way away from it, we can jump back into Freecam mode, and then we can head over here, and as you can see, it is I guess bugging out. That's pretty cool. But if you look at the actual redstone dust itself, it's actually not being powered at all, and I'll probably have to adjust the speed a little bit, that way I can actually show you what I'm talking about. Alright, let's see if I'm further away, if it still does that. Let's go ahead and put our speed up to max so we can get over there real quick. And yep, that seems to be some kind of bug. Now, one thing that I will tell you is that there is going to be some rendering bugs with Freecam, and that's on Mojang's side of things. That's really not anything that I have control on. So if I go down here, for example, and let's change the speed to maybe speed 3, you'll be able to see that there's some caves here. However, as I go, some of these caves will appear and then they will disappear. And that just has to do with how the camera is actually rendering these, which I'm pretty sure is an optimization thing on Mojang's side. However, whenever you get above the surface, this is really not a big deal at all, and as you can see, you can go into all different areas. Look at redstone if you need to. So if I wanted to go into the portal here inside of the Pigco, we have this down here. If I wanted to go down and look at some redstone down here, oh, I went too far. If I wanted to look at some redstone, I can look at redstone all down here. And then as soon as I'm done, I can type in FCX, which is going to bring me right back to the player, and turn off the Freecam. Now, keep in mind, this is just like Java Edition, so if we go into Freecam mode, let me type the speed S2, and I'll go up a little higher. If I'm in Freecam, my player is still very much here. You can see that I can move, I can jump, and I can even walk around. Which also means if I take damage or a creeper comes up on me or something like that, they will explode and I'll actually take damage and can potentially die. So this is definitely something that you want to keep in mind, and this is also the reason why I left the hotbar inside of here. That way you can actually see if you're taking damage at any point. If of course you don't want the hotbar there, you can always hit F1, which is going to hide the hotbar. And then if I ever, for whatever reason, wanted to lock this in place, let me move it. I can type period lock on. That's going to lock the camera, and now I can move around and jump and play just like I normally would, and this allows me to pretty much have any camera position that I desire. If you ever want to unlock it, you just type period lock off, which is going to reset the camera. We can go forward a little bit, get a little bit closer, then we can relock that camera, turn around, talk to the camera, do whatever you want to. And then at any given time, we can type in FCX, which is going to take us out of Freecam mode. Let me hit F1 so I have the hotbar back, and then I can be on my way. So it works just like Freecam and Java Edition for the most part. I tried to make this as close as possible. Just keep in mind that this is Bedrock Edition and we are slightly more limited as to what we can do on the coding side of things. Now, for whatever reason you were curious about the speeds, this is going to be the speed of the number 1, which is going to be pretty good for moving around small areas, maybe if you're on mobile, and apparently my guy is flying away. And then the speed of speed 2 is a little bit faster. The speed of speed 3 is even faster than that. Speed 4, we can turn around so we don't go out of render distance. You can see it's even faster. Speed 5 is even faster, and almost went out of render distance. And speed 6 is going to be the maximum speed, which is very quick. Very quick. So you do need to be careful with that. However, you are able to get across the map very quickly. I would just be very careful with how long you hold that button down. I think realistically, inside of a real world application, most people are going to not go above speed 3, as this is kind of like a real comfortable speed that you can use for the Freecam. And I think normally if you're in close quarters, the number 1 speed will probably be the most ideal. That's kind of a strange place for me to find myself. Now, like I said, I do plan on rewriting some of this, and I'm thinking that I might add the ability to actually have the camera follow the player in there as well. That way, if you ever wanted to do some cinematic things. However, I'm going to be working on the optimization and rewriting it before I work on any additional features like that. With that being said, the link to download this is going to be down inside the description below. As always, while you're down there, if you don't mind, hit that like button. It really does help out the channel. And if you enjoy videos like these and add-ons like these, then consider subscribing. That way you don't miss any of them upcoming on my channel. Just keep in mind, like I said, only one person is able to use this on a server or realm at any given time, which because it's Freecam, I don't think that you're going to be using it a whole heck of a lot. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's very useful. Just keep in mind that only one person at a time can use this with this current version, and that just has to do with the way that I have it coded to work. However, hopefully in the future I can come up with a way to make this to where it will independently work. That way at least multiple people can use it at once. However, there might still be some limitations, such as having to be X amount of blocks away from the other players while using it. All of the chat that you see on screen is only going to pop up for you. It will not pop up for the other players. And I did also add in a FC help, which will bring up all of the commands that you can run. Now we have already covered the top 10, let's go over the bottom 3. The bottom 3 are in there for specific additions. For example, this pack does enable players to use spectator mode, however this is not turned on by default. I did this because not everybody is going to want players having access to spectator mode, so by default this is turned off and will not work for any players inside of the world. If you want specific players to be able to use the spectator mode, then you can just add the spec tag to them, and then once they have that spec tag, then they will be able to run that spec command or spec off command, and that will allow them to actually use the spectator mode whenever they want by just typing that in chat. You can also decide what players are not able to use the Freecam ability by adding the no Freecam tag to them, and that's going to be NOFC for no Freecam. And whatever player has that no Freecam tag will not be able to access the Freecam at all. And then the ~KP is going to kill all of the Freecam point entities inside of the loaded chunks around any of the players. So it basically runs a kill all command for that specific point. And that point is the one that I told you that you're not able to see, and is basically carrying the camera around with it. I did also add in the #how-to command, which is going to be updated on the screen that you see here. I just have not gotten around to adding it, and that's going to bring up a how-to explaining everything that you need to know in order to use this pack. So that's it, Freecam for the Bedrock edition. Let me know what you think about this down inside of the comments below, and of course if you have any recommendations on things that you think would be a good fit to add to the pack, let me know and I will consider adding those as well. Just keep in mind that this is still inside of the early development stages as stated, and I am still actively developing it. I'm going to make a few minor adjustments to it, and then I will have this pack ready for download whenever this video comes out. With that being said, consider subscribing if you have not already, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye! I just realized something, and that is that the how-to that came up is actually for my other pack, which is for my recording pack, which as you can see, you can click here, and that's actually going to show that you're recording. All players can see it via the scoreboard, and you also have flashing icons. That is not the how-to that I meant to put up, so I can go ahead and turn this back off. The one that I meant to put up was actually FC how-to, and then that's going to bring up the how-to showing how to use the Freecam, and not my recording pack. However, if you're interested in seeing this one, I'll link that inside of the top right now. With that being said, like I mentioned, all of these are going to be updated inside of the Freecam help. So you'll be able to see all of your commands in here as soon as this pack released, and I'm going to make sure that everything is squared away before it actually goes live. With that being said, that's going to be all from me. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!